Let's play a little thought experiment. What if the reason women aren't responding to you isn't because you're doing something wrong, but because you're saying all the wrong things? In this video, I'm going to show you the top 3 compliments that make women feel instantly drawn to you. Compliments that bypass logic and tap straight into her emotional wiring. Now, I'm not talking about the usual, "you're so pretty," "nice smile," or "you're beautiful." Those are background noise. Women hear that 20 times a day, and it doesn't stick. But the compliments you're about to learn, they hit different. They make her pause. They make her wonder about, and they spark a kind of curiosity that can turn a casual conversation into magnetic attraction. But before we dive into the first one, I have to warn you, these aren't safe compliments. These aren't for the faint of heart. And if you don't use them with the right energy, you might come off as try-hard or creepy. But when done right, you'll stand out in a way 99% of men never will. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know what to say, but exactly to say it. Let's get into it. Let's be honest, most compliments men give are completely forgettable. And it's not because women don't like compliments, it's because most of them are just noise. "You're beautiful," "nice dress," "you've got a great smile." She's heard those 1,000 times. They don't spark anything. They don't make her anything, because they all focus on the obvious, her looks. And here's the problem, when you only compliment a woman's appearance, you're signaling 2 things. 1, that you see her the same way everyone else does. And 2, that you're trying to win her attention with approval, not present. That's not attractive. That's predictable. You see, real attraction isn't built on admiration, it's built on. Women don't want to be worshipped, they want to be. They want to feel like you see a side of them that most people overlook. Typical compliments fail because they don't reveal anything about. They're like throwing coins in a fountain, quick, empty, and hoping for a wish. The truth is, a woman can tell within seconds whether your compliment is coming from authenticity or from strategy. If it's just a line you heard on TikTok, she knows. But when your compliment is grounded in real observation, when it reflects how she makes feel, it lands completely different. It bypasses her mental filters and goes straight to her emotional core. So here's your first lesson. Stop complimenting what's obvious. Start complimenting what's. Instead of "you're so hot," say something like "you have a very calming energy." Boom! That catches her off guard. It makes her think. It makes her feel seen in a new way. The best compliments aren't about, they're about. They reveal something about her that to her identity, not just her appearance. Coming up next, we'll break down the exact structure of a forbidden compliment and why it works on a psychological level most guys never even consider. Let's zoom out for a second. Before we dive into the compliments themselves, you need to understand they work. Because if you don't understand female psychology, you'll always be playing the wrong game. Here's the deal. Attraction isn't logical for women. It's emotional. It's not about what makes sense on paper. It's about how you make her feel in the moment. And most men try to use logic to trigger emotion. That's why they lose. Compliments that work on women don't just highlight what's obvious. They speak to something deeper, something subtle, something that makes her feel like you're seeing a part of her that most people miss. You want to know the secret? Make her feel seen, but not exposed, understood, but not judged, desired, but not objectified. This is the tension women crave. It's the dance between being noticed and being respected, between excitement and safety. And if your compliments can strike that balance, you've got her attention on a level most guys will never access. Another key, emotional range. Most guys live in one emotional tone, either super serious or goofy, but women are naturally tuned into emotional shifts. So when you can bring depth, humor, intensity, calmness, all while staying grounded, it lights her up. Your compliments become more than words, they become experiences. And those experiences linger in her memory. Here's where most men fail. They give compliments that affirm what she already knows. "You're beautiful." Okay, she's heard that 10 times today. But if you say, "You seem like someone who's really self-aware, like you've done the work," that hits her identity. That hits something she's proud of, but rarely acknowledged for. Now she's thinking about. Not because you said something flashy, but because you saw what most people don't. You activated a part of her that's usually invisible. Here's another layer. Delivery matters. A powerful compliment loses its magic if your tone is off. If you rush it or oversell it, it feels forced. But say it calmly, like it just occurred to you, and it feels real. It feels different. It sticks with her. That's what these compliments are built to do. They trigger identity-level attraction, not surface-level validation. They tap into her emotional software and spark desire that lasts. So now that you understand the psychology, it's time to give you the goods. Let's dive into the first forbidden compliment, and once you hear it, you'll understand exactly why it works so well. Alright, let's get into the first forbidden compliment. This one is powerful because it cuts beneath the surface and speaks to her identity, not her appearance. Here it is. You have a really calming presence. It's rare. Now let's break that down. First, why is this forbidden? Because most men focus only on visual compliments. They tell her what she already knows. But this targets her. It says, I'm paying attention to how you make people feel, not just how you look. That instantly separates you from 99% of men. Second, it's layered. Calming presence hits emotional value. It says she brings peace, safety, and centeredness to the space around her. And when you say it's rare, you're validating her uniqueness. That's key. Every woman wants to feel unique, not just attractive. And here's the twist. Most women don't even know they give off this kind of energy. So when you say it, it makes her stop and wonder, really? You feel that around me? Now she's curious, not just about your words, but about how you perceive her. That's powerful. It becomes less about what you said and more about how you saw her. You trigger a moment of self-reflection, and that creates emotional depth. Third, how do you deliver it? You don't say it with intensity or with a huge grin. You say it like it naturally occurred to you, calmly, grounded, with pause and presence. You say it like you're noticing it, not trying to impress her. And the moment she hears that, her brain starts working. Wait, calming, rare? That's not something guys usually say. She feels seen, not for her makeup or her outfit, but for her essence. That triggers identity attraction. You're not saying I want you. You're saying I notice something about you that most people miss. And that creates instant elevation. Suddenly, she's the one wondering who are. That's the power shift. But remember, this only works if it's congruent. Don't say this to someone chaotic or loud. You have to match the compliment to the woman's vibe. Authenticity is non-negotiable. This compliment works best in quieter setting. Maybe after a great conversation or when the energy dips into something more personal. Timing is everything. Use this the right way and you'll see something change in her eyes. That little flicker of intrigue, that pause, that spark. Coming up next, we'll dive into the second forbidden compliment. Now let's get into the second forbidden compliment. And this one carries a little more edge. It's playful, it's bold, and if you use it right, it shifts the entire dynamic in your favor. Here it is. You're trouble, aren't you? But the good kind. This compliment works because it blends intrigue with challenge. You're not worshiping her, you're teasing her, you're placing her in a frame where she's interesting, maybe even a little chaotic, but in a way that excites you. That's a whole different energy than the typical approval-seeking compliments most guys throw out. Let's break it down. First, your trouble instantly creates a playful tension. You're suggesting she has a wild or unpredictable side, and you're afraid of it. In fact, you kind of like it. This tells her you're a man who's confident enough to handle a woman with fire. That's attractive. Then, but the good kind adds the twist. It softens the edge and adds a hint of flirtation. You're saying, you're a little dangerous, but I enjoy the ride. That's sexy. It puts you both in a frame of mutual curiosity. The beauty of this compliment is how dynamic it is. It sparks banter. She might laugh, smirk, deny it, or lean into it. Either way, it opens the door to a more emotionally charged exchange. And that's what builds chemistry. Now, how do you deliver it? With a smirk. With a bit of a knowing tone. Like you see something in her that she thought was hidden. It's not said with a straight face. It's said like a man who enjoys a little challenge and isn't easily impressed. That's the key here. This compliment shows discernment. You're not the guy handing out validation for free. You're the guy who notices depth and pokes at it just enough to spark intrigue. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said a compliment like this? Something bold that made her pause and then smile differently? Drop a comment below. I want to hear the wildest reactions you've ever gotten from a compliment, good or bad. Let's learn from each other. I read every comment, and trust me, this is where the real gems show up. While you're at it, if this video's hitting something real for you, tap the like button. It helps more than you know, and tells me to keep dropping this kind of raw, real content. Now back to it. What makes this compliment especially powerful is it creates a sense of, she's not just receiving praise, she's part of a narrative. And people don't forget stories, especially ones where they're the trouble that you secretly like. One last note, this only works if your energy is grounded. If you seem nervous or unsure, it'll feel forced. But if you own it, if you enjoy the moment, she'll feel it. And that's what creates spark. Next, we're diving into the third and most daring compliment of them all. It's bold, it's risky, and if you pull it off, she won't forget you anytime soon. Now let's talk about the most daring compliment of all. This one isn't for the faint of heart, but if you get it right, it unlocks a level of emotional intensity most guys never reach. Here it is. You feel like someone who could ruin a man in the best way. Yeah, that one hits different. This isn't a compliment you just throw out casually. It's bold, it's layered. It walks the line between danger and desire. But when said at the right moment, it creates a surge of chemistry that's electric. Let's break it down. The phrase ruin a man is powerful because it evokes intensity. It hints at emotional chaos, deep passion, and surrender. But then you flip it in the best way. Now it's not just destruction, it's transformation. You're saying, there's something about you that could change me, and I'm not even mad about it. That's raw vulnerability wrapped in swagger. It tells her you're not afraid of depth, you're not afraid to feel something, and that makes you stand out because most men are terrified of being emotionally moved. You welcome it. When delivered right, this compliment doesn't make her feel objectified. It makes her feel like she has emotional power. Like she's not just attractive, she's unforgettable. Here's when to use it, not at the start. This is a compliment for those charged moments. Maybe after you've been talking for a while and there's tension in the air. You're both leaning in. Eye contact lingers. That's when this line lands like a lightning strike. And you don't say it with a smirk. You say it slowly, with weight, like you just realized it. Like it's truth you couldn't hold in anymore. You'll feel the shift when it hits. Her body language will change. Her eyes will say more than her words. And she'll remember you. Not just for what you said, but for how you made her. This compliment is high risk, high reward. Don't use it on everyone. Save it for the ones who genuinely stir something in you. That way, when you say it, it'll come from a real place. A moment of real recognition. What makes this one so effective is that it paints her as powerful, but also desired. And that combination is addictive. She gets to be intense, irresistible, and still feminine. She feels like a force, and you're the man strong enough to see it, name it, and hold it. Now, before we wrap this up, take a second. If any part of this video resonated with you, if you learned something real, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning. We've got so much more coming, and I don't want you to miss any of it. And hey, if you've ever that kind of energy from someone that you might ruin me feeling, let me know in the comments. Those are the moments that shape us, that stay with us forever. Let's finish strong. Let's zoom out for a moment. You've just learned 3 compliments that go way beyond the surface. Compliments that don't just flatter, they influence. They shift energy, they build intrigue, and most importantly, they reflect who you are as a man. Because here's the deeper truth. It's not about the compliments, it's about the man who says them. Any guy can memorize lines, but only a grounded, self-aware man can deliver those lines with presence, with intention, with energy that makes a woman lean in. The compliments you've just learned are powerful tools, but without the right internal frame, they're empty. So what's that frame? It's a mindset where you're not seeking approval, you're offering perspective. You're not trying to get a woman to like you, you're noticing things that others miss. You're not chasing attention, you're commanding it by how you carry yourself. That's what makes a compliment stick. That's what makes it memorable. When a woman walks away from you and feels not just looked at, she remembers. When she feels not just flattered, she replays the interaction. That's the real game. The truth is, we live in a world overflowing with shallow validation. Likes,